So what is up, guys? You got your boy Jet Stingren here today, and today we are back with some more Reverse 1999 content. Today we're going to be showcasing off Windsong. So I did want to just say before we get into this video that I took a little bit of a break. We're back now. We're going to get back into the content grind. I have a lot of videos planned that I have to do. I'm going to do a couple revisits of some old characters, and we're going to have a little bit of fun before patch 1.9 stuff starts. And let's get right into it. Let's talk about Windsong. So Windsong, we did pull her, and I was trying to go for P2, but I failed both my 50/50s, and I'm on a guaranteed right now. So I don't know if I will ever come back and do like the P2 showcase just to kind of throw it out there. I'm not sure. I don't know if I will be putting any more like money into the banner because I'm just like, well, maybe 1.9 might be better. I don't know. But I was really hoping to get P2 because that's kind of like a good breaking point. But I'll talk about why that is in just a moment. But this is Windsong. So this is what she looks like. Let's go and get started by talking about her skills, inheritances, all that good stuff like we do normally. If you watch the Should You Pull video, most of it is pretty much going to be just a mirrored sentiment of that. So if you watch the Should You Pull video, then you should just skip this and get right to the showcase. But let's get right into it for those of you who have not seen that video. So these are inheritances. Whenever an ally scores a critical hit with an incantation, an enemy gets a stack of confusion and grants one stack of measure to self, which is very good. Measure is going to be her unique buff. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Insight 2 gives her crit rate plus 10% when entering the battle. And when entering the battle, she gets an additional crit rate of 10% and critical damage was 10%. And after casting Order, she gains one stack of Preparation Windsong. And very, very simple. So her measure buff, right? It is critical rate plus 3%, critical rate plus 3% for 2 rounds, up to 15 stacks. Each stack is timed independently, and it's undispellable. So it's technically at a max of 45% crit rate, at a max of 45% critical damage. The problem with this buff, though, is that it is timed. It's not just you build up the stacks and you just have the 45% crit rate, crit damage forever. So it is systematically a little bit difficult to get to 15 stacks outside of things like using her ultimate, which gives you a lot of stacks, which we'll talk about in just a moment. We have potential consistent crit getters out there that can just keep getting you crits that work. But for the most part, getting to 15 really doesn't happen until you pop your ultimate because of all the follow-ups that you can do because of how she works, which again, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But that's really just it. I mean, it's just more crit rate, more crit damage, which of course is well appreciated for someone like Windsong because of one of her main cards, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Now let's talk about her skills. Her first skill is going to be called Rehabilitation. Now, this is the main damaging skill that you want to be spamming with Windsong when you're in Ultimate. Her Ultimate does convert into the matching incantation level up to this card. So this is going to be her big DPS card, which it is a one target attack that gains one stack of Eureka and it deals up to a maximum 150% mental damage. She can also spend the 2 Eureka to deal bonus mental damage for up to 150% depending on the total stars of the card. And she can convert excess critical rate to critical damage for this attack. So she only has it built into this attack, which is not a negative thing. I've seen some people say that that's a bit of a bad thing. Why can't it just be like all of her kit? But the thing is, when she pops ultimate, this is the thing that she's going to start spamming with. She doesn't have a built-in ultimate attack. And the other skill, which we'll talk about in just a moment, is more so specifically for setting up. So it's like, you don't really need the crit rate, critical damage conversion for a skill that's one meant to set up, and you have it on the most important skill. This is the most important skill. This is a skill you're going to want to stack up a bunch of times on because this is going to be what happens when she casts the ultimate. And then next up is her other skill, which is called Practicability. It is a mass attack that gains one stack of Eureka for a maximum of 285% of mental damage to 2 enemies. And she gains up to 3 stacks of Preparation Windsong. So how her preparation stacks work in this particular case is she is going to generate 1 stack of her 4 rehabilitation skill if you use this skill. But if you use the other varying versions, the 2 and the 3 star, you get additional precast. So that means if you use a 2-star cast, you get 2 stacks of 1 star for 1-star rehabilitation, which means they rank up on top of each other, thus removing the precast condition altogether. So that's a really, really cool thing right there. If you get 3, then of course you can just get uh, 3 cards generated. One's going to be a remaining precast because it's not going to be able to rank up on anything unless there is a rehabilitation card that comes behind it. So that's really just it. But yeah, but this is just pretty much the setup skill. As I said before, this is a skill that's going to help you get into more rehabilitation cards so you can rank them up, so you can get more use out of them, and that's just how it goes. All right. Excuse me. Next up is going to be your ultimate, which is called Long Long Journey. It is a one target debuff that inflicts one stack of confusion on the target for 1 round, then enters the mapping status for the round. She gains 2 stacks of Eureka, converts all her own incantations into rehabilitation of their matching rank, and casts them all if able. So this is again why I was just talking about it. This is going to be what happens whenever she uses her ultimate. She's just going to cast the rehabilitation skill depending on how many that's sitting in the deck right now. So the way that you play Windsong is you try to stock up on at least a few casts of the rehabilitation skill at a high rarity level, so at 2 to 3 star, and then you just fire off from there, and then you just deal a big amount of burst damage in that regard. I will talk about the differences between short-term content and long-term content, and why stocking too much can be a detriment depending on the type of playstyle that you may have, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. But yeah, so as you can see, when she's in mapping status, she cannot lose any stacks of Eureka. For any stack of excess Eureka that's gained throughout this time, she will get 1 stack of measure. So if she's at P0, it's only 2 Eureka, which only means you get 2 stacks of measure, which is only 6% crit rate, 6% critical damage outside of the stacks you may already hold, which, it is what it is. And of course, measure again is explained for you. Now, the whole thing about Windsong, as I mentioned before, is stacking up the cards from getting a high tier level of 4 rehabilitation, or rehabilitation is the card is called. Now, the problem I've seen with people is that I feel like they overcommit to stocking with rehabilitation for the short term content. And the problem with that is it takes away from potential card uses of other allies that need to do their job, such as it could potentially prevent a healer from getting a heal card and your team's running low on HP. It could be a potential buff that you need for Windsong to do more damage. So this is why when I say this, as a person who gotten a user for a little bit, don't overcommit to stocking up cards with Windsong. The big problem with that is that you're starting to take away resources from everyone else. So for me, right, when I typically go into bursting with Windsong, I look at about anywhere between 3 to 4 casts of a 2 to 3 star cast of rehabilitation. I think that's a good stopping point for you to get a pretty strong amount of burst damage potential. You can easily hit like 70, 80k off a cast of an ultimate with just those 3 to 4 star cast of those 3 star cast of rehabilitation, because she is still going to get all that extra bonus damage. And that's just what I would say. If you're looking more long term like raid, I can maybe say go 5. The problem is, again, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where your other allies are basically incapable of doing their job. Technically speaking, you can pretty much consistently get as many stacks as you want with Windsong to stack because of her generating precast. She can always generate a precast every single turn so long as you use practicability as a skill, because she can always generate one of one, and that does help. But at the same time, it can be a little bit tricky to get to the higher tiers once you start to run out of potential room for other partners to do their thing. So that's why I do say go no more than maybe like 5 cast, and then you just kind of go from there. Then that way you won't have to be in a situation where, excuse me, you're kind of like stuck and you're like, oh man, I can't play any more cards because I'm hoping that I get Vila's buff for Windsong and I need her Song of Passion to pop off so I can do extra damage. So that's why I do think it's definitely better to be more controlled with the way that you deal your DPS with Windsong. And that's just what I just say there. I do think that it's definitely better to be more controlled as opposed to just going all in with damage with Windsong. Don't go all in with the amount of cards that you can stack, because again, you don't want to take away from those potential partners. I think that's the most important advice I can give to people who are looking to pull Windsong and wondering why she's so OP, why she's so hyped. Yeah, just be a bit more mindful with the card setups that you have. Next patch there will be a little bit of an easier way to kind of do the strat with Windsong. 1.9 is coming. They did announce it on Twitter. I think today actually. I think it was either today or yesterday. They're kind of starting to do the little teaser stuff for 1.9. There is going to be a new tuning that does come with it, and that's going to make the strat a little bit more consistent and a little less like RNG heavy, because you do have the hope that you get the other good cards for your teammates is what I would say. So, but anyway, that's going to be that. Let's go and check out her cube. Her own cube is generally the best one for short-term content because it is a pretty good card. Another good card that you can use for long-term content actually is going to be Outside the City. Outside the City is actually pretty good because of the amount of stacks you get. Remember, when Song casts her ultimate, all of those count as a follow-up. So basically, this is going to be slowly getting her more and more stacks of crit rate and more stacks of critical damage. So this is another really good way to allow for her to technically overcap herself, which is nice. Another really good card you can go is Blasphemer. Very simple. That's still another good, potentially good option. Another good card that you can go for raid is Another Story as well, because of the stacking up effect, and of course you get the up to 24% damage bonus. Here, the ultimate might doesn't really do anything for the card itself, because obviously you're not dealing damage to ultimate might, you're dealing damage to incantation might instead. This is why I kind of like Blasphemer a little bit more, because this gives incantation instead, which of course is going to help that rehabilitation skill hit just a little bit harder. But yeah, that's why I like Blasphemer a little bit more as opposed to Another Story. But yeah, the main cards you want to look to use for her is for Rehabilitation, Another Story, Blasphemer, and Another Story. I think those are traditionally the ones you go. You can even go something as simple as Thunderous Applause. That's still a viable card, but again, I wouldn't really go for it because of its low base attack stat, and of course the other better options that we have here. So yeah. Next up is going to be her portraits. Let's talk about them. So at P1, I kind of want to get P1 to be honest. But Rehabilitation at rank 1, 2, 3 incantation, mental damage is increased from 200, 290 to 480%, and the additional damage dealt by spending Eureka is increased to 90, 130, and 200. Again, pretty big damage boost for Windsong because that makes her skill hits expeditiously harder. I don't know if that's even the right word to use for that. That's how excited I am. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just have a little bit of fun with it. But yeah, it's very nice boost for her. P2 is the ideal stopping point because it gives her a bonus of 25% crit rate and 25% critical damage increase for up to 25%. So this changes the I3 condition. A lot of people thought this was just adding a straight up conditional of 25%. No, this is changing the I3 condition from 10% to 25%. So the crit rate, crit damage is going to be changed from 10 to 25. So it's just a 15% critical rate, critical damage boost in actuality. But that's still good because that's, again, helping her reach 100% more quicker so that she can overcap to allow that critical rate conversion to go into her rehabilitation skill. Long journey to is increased to 5, which technically means you get 5 stacks of measure this way, which again, good. P4, practicability gets increased from only 1 to 2. It's a little bit weird that they didn't increase 3 at all. Usually they go 1, 2, and 3 stars for incantation boost, but I mean, it is what it is. I think 280 is still fine, I think. And then P5 is going to be the final boost for rehabilitation, which then changes their skills from 220, 320 to 520, and then 110, 160 to 40, which, again, big damaging skill, very big damaging skill. But again, if you ask me, as I said before, P2 is the stopping point. Let's go and take a look at her Resonance build. This is the build that you want to run with her. This is going to be just a straight up crit build. This is just the preferred build. Just go crit. I mean, if it isn't written in the sky already, just run crit. This is the pieces that you want. And yeah, these are our stats right here. I've gotten a few comments asking me to show the stat spread, but this is the stat spread. As you can see, she has a lot of crit rate just going in, even before using her own inheritances. So this easily is at about 90% crit rate just out of the gate, because of the extra 20% crit rate that I'm getting. And then of course if I use one like Vila, that's gonna push her over to 100%, which is good. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about Windsong. As I said before, she is a fantastic nuker. We'll use her in some content. We'll kind of show off how you do the proper card stacking strat, as I mentioned before. And I'll just see you guys next time. And just one moment. Alright guys, this is going to be the showcase with Windsong. I wanted to use her in 6-2, but 6-2 is a little bit wonky to use because of the whole Moxie draining mechanic, and I don't really feel like being bothered with the mechanic, because the mechanic is a little bit annoying, honestly. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's get right into it, and we're going to use her in this team instead. And let's get started. So, of course, what we're going to do with Windsong, as per usual, is just rank up with her and kind of get her going that way. So, kind of hoping that the rehabilitation card, that we do get a rehabilitation card. I could practicability rank up here, actually. I could, but I'm not. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm just gonna cast the 1-star. 1-star is still fine. Of course, our main goal will be for this is to get at least 3 to 4 to burst off with. That's ideally what we want. So that's going to be the end goal. So we'll do this, we'll do this, we will debuff again with 6, we will actually hold on, let's keep this for sure. We'll do this with you. I mean, we could heal, honestly, but we'll buff. We will debuff with 6, and we'll do this. And then that should give us our first 3-star cast. So, our first of many that we're hoping to get. So, one more turn, we should be able. Nice. So I need one more turn for 6 to pop off. So I'll do this, this, and then we will just heal. And then yep, so now we got the 5 stacks on 6, which is good. Alright, I can do this for the Empower Incantation. We will ult just a random add. And we have to precast. Yeah, we have to.
A new hypothesis.
The scale of your soul has tilted. The balance needs to be restored.
I'm just gonna hit the random add.
No other study could show you this.
Okay, we got Vila's buff going. Good, good. Unfortunately, she was dazed this turn, which is the worst person to daze, but it's still fine because we have 6, so we can do this to her. We can buff Windsong, and sure. We still have one more turn left of the Empower Incantation up, so.
Taking another look.
I think that gets us our, we got disarmed. That's bad. That's bad, actually. But it's okay. I think we can still make it rock. Yeah, because Vila's gonna remove it. Never mind. It's not bad. It's not bad.
And you
This,
have opposites.
and then, yeah,
Moments
sure.
of silence.
To a brighter future for everyone.
So we're almost set. Almost.
No other study could show you this.
I think in next turn, we should be good. Thinking next turn? Because we still have the song buff active, I think. Should be good now. Let me check. Yeah, we have Song of Passion up. Good, good, good. Alright, I could just go for the rank up of Practicability just to give me another 2-star cast, which would be nice. We'll do that, sure. We will buff. Who's the lowest HP? Looks like Vila does.
I will remember my second.
And then we will fire off
Not
ultimate.
another question.
Now I'm not sure if she can kill the entire fight herself, but we'll see. We'll see.
Limited scale, infinite lines. Behold,
Don't 50k on one hit. Nice, nice. Ah, nice. See, she just killed the whole fight by herself.
I should excuse myself.
I mean, yeah, granted, a lot of that was us chipping down, but still, dude, that's so funny. That's so funny. But yeah, that's basically how you win Song. Is just you stack up a bunch of her good cards and then just allow her just to start going crazy. But yeah, this has been your boy Jessica. See you guys next time. Peace.